Hey YouTube land, Tychonders there, doing another action figure review. This is for another two figures, as you can see in front of you. Now before we proceed, I just need to say that these video reviews are intended for collectors over the age of 13 years old, in accordance to abide by the COPA rules. Excuse me, in accordance to abide by the FDA and COPA rules. But today I am going to have a look over the new, as of 2020, McFarlane Toys Warhammer 40,000 Necron Warrior and the Adeptus Astartes Space Marine Intercessor. This is the artist proof version of the Space Marine. Now again, just before I proceed with this review, I just want to bring in the other figures that I reviewed, which is the First Wave Intercessor. This is the Assault Intercessor, and this is the same figure, but I slightly customized. Now, I just want to point out something. This is one I picked up more recently with the same wave of figures as the Necron and the actual artist proof, and people pointing out to me on social media, mainly Facebook, were saying that the mold lines on the ones that I had originally, which is this guy, you can see the mold lines are quite distinctive on this guy's helmet, and this one is the other one that I repainted. So I have repainted them to be standard Marines. I removed the extra shoulder pattern. I haven't finished them off yet because I need to get some green stuff just to fill in, or something to fill in the block where the peg for holding on that piece was, and then repaint to match the coloring. But I have repainted the markings, as you can see, for the most part. Didn't turn out too badly. They're not great on some of them, but I might just go back in there again and fix them up. So I'll show them all together at the end of this review, but the main figures in this review that I'm reviewing today is the Necron Warrior and the Grayscale Space Marine, or Artist Proof Space Marine as they're known. So I'll go through the Artist Proof Space Marine first, because he's basically the quickest one to go through. It's the exact same sculpt as the Assault Intercessor. They both come with these bases. His box is pretty standard. It's the same box that they all seem to have. The only difference is on the back of the box. It shows other figures in the wave, which is the Assault Intercessor, the Necron Warrior, and then it shows just an image of him standing in standard form. And it just says his accessory is a bolt rifle. Again, on the side of the box, you just see an image of the figure, the Grayscale figure. And it says his name, Space Marine Primaris Intercessor Artist Proof. Now, there is a Artist Proof Necron Warrior, which is Necron Warrior done in this grey. Now, those familiar with the Citadel paints will recognize that this grey is pretty much the standard Adeptus Mechanicus standard grey is the color scheme it's known as. It's generally used as a primer for figures, so it's done in this matte grey. So you should be able to, in theory, paint this guy straight out of the box. You may need to put a prime coat on him just to give him that extra bit of paint adherence, because I know when I was painting my ones, especially with the silver paint that I added to mine, it took a while for it to stick to the actual plastics, so you might need a prime coat on it. But that's getting off topic again. So Space Marine has all the same articulation as the other ones. I'll just bring in my tape measure so you can see how tall he is without knocking everything over. He comes with two accessories, well, three accessories including the base. He stands just around 7.5 inches tall. So he comes with three accessories, one being the bolt rifle, which is the kind of standard equipment of the Adeptus Astartes, the bolter or bolt rifle or bolt pistol. Now the front of my one is a little bit flattened. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera. It's a little bit misformed, but that doesn't bother me too much. But overall, it's made of slightly It's fairly solid plastic except for the handle. It's a little bit rubbery, but that's just get it easier into the hands. Now the main difference between this guy and the standard one is the helmet doesn't have the skull pattern on it. The left hand is in an open palm, so you can actually put the, do two-handed poses with the bolt rifle when it's in his hand. The right hand is exactly the same. He doesn't have the shoulder guard or the wrist guard that the assault intercessors do. He has a standard Space Marine kind of armor, and then that's pretty much it for differences. Articulation wise, he's identical, and in fact, hopefully this will work. Let me just pop this off so you can see his arms are on ball joints. So it's on a ball joint that gives a range of movement, and you can slightly disassemble them. It seems to be easier to disassemble this guy than it is for the other one. So I'm assuming that's something to do with the fact that he's meant to be easier to paint. He has the same waist articulation, knocking everything over. Bear with me a moment. Need to bring up my stand for my lamp. So he has the same articulation, double jointed knees. The ankle articulation with a slight bend. The wrist articulation, which is a kind of standard ball peg. So you can rotate the ball peg in here. So you can do the hand in and out or up and down. You just have to rotate the peg as well, so you can get the extra movement on it. But the wrists are on a swivel. The upper shoulder pads are on an extra articulation point as well, so you can get them out of the way for the shoulders to go up a bit when you're moving the shoulders. In fact, you should be able to, because the head gets in the way, it does hinder it. Now, I haven't put the backpack on this guy because I do intend to paint him up. So the way the backpacks are done, once they're in, they're incredibly hard to get out. Hence why I haven't added it to this guy. But you can see the detail around the back. He has pockets. He has the, as I said, he has the exact same articulation as the previous one. Only difference is he's designed to be a standard tactical marine compared to an assault marine. So the standard kind of tactical marines have the bolt rifles, whereas the assault marines have the chainsword and a heavy bolt pistol. So moving on to him, or from him, as I said, they do have the same base as well, actually, just before I move on. They do have the same base, and he does have peg holes on the bottom of his feet. The only thing is, if you put his feet into the peg holes, because his feet are so big, he's practically standing off the base. So you don't really get him on the base too easily. It would have been nice if the base included was bigger. It does work better for the Necron because he has a slightly less wide feet, and slightly you can get the stance a little bit easier on him. If I just get this in, you can actually get the both feet in a lot easier. Again, it's not the best stand. They should have really been a lot wider just to take up the actual figures proportions. But the Necron warrior is full of joints. So I'll go over his accessories. So again, so other than the base, he also comes with 2 accessories, one of which is a scarab. Now, on the back of the box, if I just flip it around, it says Necron warrior with gas flare and canoptic scarab. Back in the day when I was playing 40k, which I kind of still do, but I haven't played Necrons and Yonks in ages. The scarabs were known as just scarab swarms, and they didn't have like a canoptic scarab or different types of scarabs. But I think because these are based on 9th edition, and I think the previous edition had it as well, that they gave the kind of scarabs that have like dynasties for the Necron warriors, kind of similar to Egyptian dynasties. So, you had like different rulers for the Necron lords and stuff like that. So the scarves are kind of based on that. Same with the paint scheme. This paint scheme is based on, I think it's Canoptic Necron warriors, which is why he's kind of done this off kind of gold bronzy sort of color with the silvers. Again, when I was like the basic standard Necron warrior, when I was playing 40k, was just basic silver. I wasn't really superb, or I wouldn't say it was superb, but it was fairly basic in paint apps. But like there was other armies painting schemes that you could use on these. But he's pretty sweet. Again, me knocking stuff over because of my small limited space. Sorry about that. Well, I'll just bring in the tape measure so you can see how tall he stands. So he stands just around 7 inches. So he's a small bit smaller than the Space Marine, not by much. Now, I'm not sure if that is accurate, because I know Necrons are generally supposed to be human-sized, and Space Marines in the lore, at least, are supposed to be like between, I think, 7 and 8 foot tall, maybe taller. Actually, I think it's between 8 and 9 foot tall, especially the Primaris Marines. They're supposed to be the tallest Space Marines. So he does, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be in a squat pose, so he's a little bit smaller than a standard Marine. Generally, you see them kind of all hunched over and squat. That's why his back has this big hunch to it. And it's the same with the neck. So articulation-wise, he is quite articulated. So he has kind of the same style ball joints that the Marine has in the shoulder. He has an upper shoulder swivel. He has a single jointed elbow, but there's no swivel in that. It's just a single jointed. Again, he has those pegs for the wrist, so you can rotate the wrist around, go in and out. Or if you have it done in the right angle, you can go up and down. So you rotate the peg on the wrist, and then you rotate the wrist itself to give the extra articulation. It's the same thing with the feet. So you can rotate the ankle. Now it looks awkward on the ankle because there's like bolts on either side of the ankle, but they did give a little bit of ankle tilt without that. So you do have that. He does have a foot articulation as well, which is something that the Marine doesn't have. He has single jointed knees, but he can get over a good 90-degree bend. He can kick forward all the way up. He can kick forward practically all the way. He can do a 360 with his leg, actually, if you just move the hand out of the way. That is because of the design of these guys. There's nothing really hindering them from moving all the way around. He can do the splits, not much. Do I have both knees in the right position? Yeah, he can do splits that much. Again, I knocked over my lamp again. Sorry about that. Let me just go retrieve it, and I'll go get through the rest of his articulation. Now, sorry if this review is a bit long-winded. I'll try and keep it short enough. He does have his Goss Flare, which is the standard weapon for a Necron warrior. A lot of their weapons are based on Goss, like they have Goss at the forename, so they have Goss cannons, Goss flares, Goss rifles, Goss pistols, that kind of thing. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Could be Goss. It's G-A-U-S-S, so it looks like it's Goss. But I could be butchering the name. If I am, I apologize, but it's designed in such a way, it doesn't have full paint apps, in the sense that you can see they're sculpted in battle scarring and worn areas on it, so they're not really painted up. But you could really go to town on this if you wanted to really customize either the cannon or the actual blade on it. And they give it like battle worn. Could probably dry brush silvers over it just to give it a bit more detailing. There's a few icons that aren't painted as well, so you could paint those in kind of gold color, kind of similar to or silver, kind of similar to the one on the chest symbol. As far as I know, I think the chest symbol is what denotes which kind of dynasty the Necron is from, and it could be different, but they all have these sort of symbols on the chest and elsewhere on their weapons and stuff. The design of these guys are based on 9th edition, and in 9th edition they've kind of bolstered them up a bit, so they're like, the idea behind them is, again, they're kind of Egyptian themed space skeletons. is probably the best way to describe them. They're like space undead. They've been asleep for eons, and you can see that, you know, the legs are different on both sides. They're asymmetrical. Is that the right word? So you have different sculpting on both sides. Same with the arms. They're like different bits on the arms, and they're supposed to have been asleep for eons. And then when the Imperium Man came around, or other Xenos races came around, they woke them up and started messing with the artifacts and stuff, which awakened all the Necron warriors and their lords. And I'm getting a bit off track again. So with the articulation, head is on a ball joint. Now, it doesn't have the best range of movement. It would have been nice if there was an extra joint at the base of the neck, so give you more movement. But the way they're designed, they're supposed to be designed so that they're at an angle like that, so the head can go side to side, but it goes at an angle. It doesn't go straight left to right, if you know what I mean, because the head kind of hops off the back of the neck, or the back of the head pops off the back of the neck. It does have double joints, or double ball joints, one in the upper chest, one in the lower chest, and the lower chest also gives it a waist articulation. As you saw from the legs, they can go out that much. There's a small swivel at the top of the leg as well, at the top of the thigh, and then you have the double, not double jointed, but the joint in the knee. There's a swivel as well on the knee. I'm not sure if it's on both ones. It seems to be on just this one, on the left. So there is that. And then, as I said, it has single jointed elbows, no swivels in those, but you have the swivel just above the shoulder to give it the extra swing. Overall, it's quite nice. I will stress that when you do get these guys first out of the packaging, you will have to heat up the hands in order for it to grasp the cannon. Now, there is 2 points on the cannon that you're able to grasp with this guy. Just get him to stand. He's a bit of a... He does tend to be a bit tricky to stand. I'm assuming he should be a bit more hunched over. There we go. So, on the gas rifle, he has his handle, which goes into the right hand, which is his trigger finger hand. He also has this extra handle on the back for holding in the grasp hand for his left hand. Or you can, if you heat up the hand, have it grasp the barrel of the cannon, the piece just underneath. And I'm not sure if this will work because he's been sitting in the cold a bit, so his hand is a bit more... Yeah, it's not going to work for me on camera. If you heat up the hand, you can get it into it, but he does hold it quite nicely. And I'm just going to leave it on him because I'm running a little overtime on this, because I would try to keep to the 15-minute mark, but it's gone a bit over. But there you go, guys. There is the Necron Warrior and the Space Marine. In fact, if I just push them back a bit, I'm going to bring in the other Space Marines just quickly, and then I'll try and bring in some other 7-inch scale figures, which are supposed to be in scale with these guys. So here is my other Marines that I have. So this is the basic standard one, which has the red helmet, which denotes a sergeant. And then I have the two ones that I customized. Now, I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me just pull the camera back a bit. So I have the two I customized. The only thing I did differently was, as I said, the shoulder pads and the back shoulder. And on this one, I painted the silver that should be on the vents for his backpack. The other ones don't have that done. I probably will get around to doing it on this one. And I also, on the standard miniatures for these guys, the casing on the heavy bolt pistol is black, so I did paint it on that. And once I painted those, all I did was I gave it a quick varnish with a Humbrol matte coat, and I'm hoping that will keep the paint from chipping off. I might have to do a second coat on it, but most of these have just the one coat of the matte coat on it. So you can see how, and I just use standard Macragge blue, which is the ultramarine base color from Citadel, So if you have that, it will work for these guys. If you're planning on painting them a completely different chapter, then you may need to prime them first, or do a test paint on an area that may be not so visible, so you can see if the paint will adhere to it. So since Space Marines are supposed to be around the 8 to 9 or 7 to 9 foot tall, they should scale better with these guys, which is the standard Black Series Stormtrooper. They should scale better to these guys, but because the Necrons, I think, are supposed to be human-sized, and I'm knocking everything over again, because the humans are supposed to be Necron-sized, they do tend to be a bit taller, and that means they should be scaled in with figures like Soups here. They should be like, you know, 6-inch or 7-inch scale DC size figures. But as you can see, the Space Marine is around the same height as him, which makes no sense. So it's hit and miss which way you want to this. Like if you're like me and you like doing diorama crossover photos and stuff like that, or using these guys with photos, it's kind of a hard sell for which scale they should be into. So it's up to yourself. And I'll just bring in one more 6-inch figure if I can get it without breaking anything on it. I just have good old basic Rambo. This is the one that had the poncho, but I removed the poncho. So you can see the Necron kind of stands around the same height as him. With the Space Marine should be at least that height to him. He should be only as high as the chest symbol on him. So, you know, it is what it is. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video review. I picked these guys up at my local Games Workshop store. Now, at the time of this recording, they have a limited run of these guys in. They only had, I think, 2 of each. I did pick up a whole wave of first wave, so that's 3. So they only had 2 left because someone had already bought the painted Intercessor. But your local Games Workshop stores should have these. If not, check the website. They are available on their Games Workshop website, and I'll put a link to the website as well. Again, they're limited on the Games Workshop website, and they are also available on Amazon.com for the US, and in Walmart they're doing an exclusive for the grayscale Necron, which is this type Necron, so you can paint it yourself. Comes with the exact same accessories, the cannon and the scarab. Even the scarab is unpainted, so you can paint that to your liking. And the other thing they're doing is a sister battle, and that's what's called a blue exclusive, which means it's exclusive to Walmart for a couple of months, and then it becomes available to other places as well. So, but that's not due out till January. So there you go, guys. I hope I didn't waffle on too much, and I hope I didn't, I wasn't too boring for you to watch. So as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I hope you enjoy this video. Cheers, guys.